Namaste. Yesterday, we talked about an important aspect that's happening astrologically in this year. There's two major things that all the astrologers are talking about for 2022. One of those being Pluto's return to the natal chart of the United States of America. There's three of those transits happening this year. The first one happened in February. The second one will be in July, and the final one will be around November or December. But there's another conjunction that is creating a lot of talk, and that's the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction in Pisces. Every zodiac sign has a planet that rules it, and both of those planets govern the Pisces. Pisces is the water element, and Pisces is the final sign in the 12 zodiac calendar in Western astrology. So we're ending a 12-year cycle, and we'll be starting a new cycle with this energy that's been ushering through. So this is about releasing and letting go of something or someone that you may have been in servitude with, or you may have put a lot of time and attention towards. And it's just opening up a new pathway. Where there's endings, there's new beginnings. And we'll be moving into Aries, which is the first of the zodiac signs, once they start traveling forward. Now, because Jupiter and Neptune, the planets are further away, for this particular conjunction to happen in Pisces, it happens every 166 years. So the last time it happened was the floods in Europe. It was an undercurrent of spiritual revival. And it was also at a time when photography and media started changing from black and white to color. So there should be an emphasis on spirituality and the arts and creativity as this energy starts getting ushered through this year. The one thing that I wanted to mention that's different than what we talked about yesterday is the fact that in Vedic astrology, and in Vedic astrology, it's more Eastern astrology that stems from India, Jupiter is said to be the guru, and guru is one that dispels darkness. So with Jupiter being in Pisces, this is about the planet being more at home, again, in Pisces in this water element, but it's also about leaving stress and bringing wisdom and power back to the people. So the theme from this Vedic astrologer that I follow is saying this conjunction is taking us from being stressed to blessed. If you look back at what was going on 12 years ago, we were leaving the recession. So that was in 2009. So it was this turning over of recession coming back into more economic gain. Think about what we've been through just the past couple of years with the pandemic. So hopefully this energy is going to be ushering us out of the pandemic, but we'll see what happens. Each individual will be different according to where this falls in your personal natal chart. So you can have an astrologer check that out for you to see where your kisses and blessings are going to be, or in what house or area of your life. I am going to be using a blanket today, and we are going to be using a wall. Because we're moving from being stressed to blessed, I thought we could focus on the stomach meridian. The stomach meridian is one of the energetic pathways that travels from the foot up through the front side of the leg, and then it branches off into the upper body. You may want a couple blocks for this. And I would suggest having the blocks in front of you. We're going to get right into this today. So with your knees on a blanket, your hands on a block, you're going to get your left foot to come up the wall. Depend on those blocks for stability, but also to create more space between your belly and the floor so that you have the room available to step into it. And you're basically doing the king author pose. Now, you may enjoy having the hands resting on the floor. You may enjoy them being on blocks. You may want to build up higher. The problem I see, though, when people prop up higher, they tend to back their whole torso and hips towards the wall. But remember, we're trying to really target the back quads, the front of the leg. So you do want to have that scissoring effect between the front knee and the back knee, as though it's splitting. This is great for the iliopsoas muscle, getting it to release. But the reason why I wanted to focus on this meridian today and this portion of the body today is because the organs of the stomach and the spleen tend to hold stress and worry. In Chinese medicine, they put emotions with certain organs. So for grief, it would be the lungs. For anger, resentment, frustrations, that would be the liver and the gallbladder. For stress and worry, the spleen and the stomach. So this is also going to be a practice that works the spleen meridian, because that is the pairing, the yin pairing to this yang meridian of the stomach. Remember to take some deep breaths. I know this can get intense. Breathing new life in, breathing any stale or stuck energy away. Breathing out all stress, tension, fatigue, or illness away. All right, we're going to back ourselves up, and you can swap, lifting your right foot up the wall, the knee on the blanket, and then stepping the left foot forward. Again, here on the floor, setting the hands here to the blocks or to the front knee. Just make sure you're not compromising the pose and the openness and the stimulation that we're trying to gain in the front side of the back leg. Gravitate down with your hips. Take command over your breath. Let your breath offer you some patience as the tightness and tension unravels. Those longer, stronger exhalations can also help us to dispel any stress. Last breath. And then we're going to bring the left knee back and that foot up. We're going to move the blocks out of the way, stand on the hands to rock the hips down. And then you can crawl back so that your knees are touching the baseboard and your feet are still up the wall and you're resting on your forearms. So this is more of a Sphinx type, but it's actually a hybrid between Sphinx and frog. Now, since we're being yin, it's okay to bow the head. I'm going to keep my head held up since I've been losing the C curve in my neck. So I do want you to consider the condition of your neck. So if you've had an x-ray lately, if you've gone to a chiropractor lately, they may give you that information. Oh, your C curve's exaggerated, or you're losing that C curve. So if you're losing it, you may not want to hang the head. If you have too much of the curvature, then you can spill the head down. We're trying to promote more prana and life force into the heart. We're still opening up that stomach meridian, because remember the stomach meridian comes up in branches across the belly. Now we're going to use this as a warm-up to go into the frog position. So from the frog position, we lower towards the chest. And then we wrap one hand around and find the top of that foot. And then we swim the other one around to find the top of that foot. Now, I'm going to take my wrist to the base of the toes, keeping the thighs on the floor, and then I'm going to try to lift the chest a little higher. So it's not bow pose, Akasana. You're pulling lightly on the feet, staying in your back bend, strengthening the diaphragm muscle. And because we're laying on the diaphragm muscle, when it expands, you're going to feel yourself lift. When it contracts, you're going to feel yourself slightly fall. 3 more. All right, once you release the feet, stand on your hands, push up like a swan, and that will make it available for you to crawl the knees forward. We're going to do one more against the wall before we get up to stand. We're going to do Anahatasana against the wall, and the pose normally looks like this, with the hips over the knees, and you're bowing your back and dipping down. But we're going to use the blanket to put the knees on. You want to be a distance away from the wall, just like you would be a tabletop. Your hands climb up to the surface, and then you swoop the back. You hang in the shoulder joints. Promote a better breath. Find a good angle for your neck. Three more. Last one. Slowly back away. And we're going to come up to stand at the top of the mat. When you come to stand at the top of the mat, you may want blocks here at the front. We'll bring our hands to prayer position. Inhale, lift the arms up overhead to upward worship. Think about gathering all the positive energy and blessings as though they're raining down upon you. And then fold forward straight through your center, separating your hands, softening through the knees. Feel free to allow the shoulders to roll, the head to nod, the upper body to get a little heavier. You can also clasp hold of your arms. Notice when the energy starts to erupt through the lower body, there's a little vibration. You might get a little sway. Notice if your tendency is to roll to one side. Try to keep the weight evenly distributed between each leg and each foot. Soften your face, jaw. Sometimes that hidden tension is revealed in the mouth and the teeth and the tongue and the lips and the jaw. So just relax the interior and exterior of your mouth. It's also a good time to take a cleansing breath. So if you want to breathe in through your nose and breathe out with a sigh. On your next inhale, let's go ahead and step the left foot back. Once you step the left foot back, we're going to drop slowly to the back knee. Once you step to the back knee, keep the back toes curled under. Check in to see if you by chance need a blanket or more cushion and padding. I don't always need one, but this mat that I'm using today is pretty thin. And then I'm going to give you an option. Your first option is just to stay here. Second option would be left hand grounded, right hand stacking on the front knee so that you're creating a twist. So you could just stay with the hip opener and quad opener, or you could incorporate the twist. Your next option would be to perhaps pick up your back foot, swing that right hand around, find it, catch it on the pinky toe side. You can also pull it in lightly like a lever. And just remember, just because you can doesn't always mean you should. Check in with your breath. The breath is probably going to be the first telltale sign of whether or not you should be going deeper, because if your breath gets caught or held or becomes shallow, that's your indication to do less. Staying in that first phase, second phase, or third phase. Still getting benefit with the meridian no matter what. All right, let's feel down the back foot. Let's unwind from the twist. Lift that back knee, step over that blanket to plank, rock forward and lower down to Chaturanga, sinking to the belly, separating the feet. Slide your hands out towards the corners of the mat and slowly pick up the trunk. Belly open, chest open, back bending. If that's too much, you can sink to Sphinx arms. Regardless of where you are, close your eyes. Remember, this is a yin approach, so the feet are apart, the legs are pretty relaxed, the buttock is not engaged. You exhale, you're going to lower back towards your chest. Your hands are going to slide under the shoulders. The feet are going to come back together. And then you pop up to table on the in-breath. Curl the toes And launch into downward facing dog on your out breath. Holding this inversion. Eyes can be open or closed. On your next inhale, let's step that right foot back to the front. Sink down to the back knee. Yes, we're on the same side on purpose. We're going to take a hold of the blocks. The back toes stay curled under to work the front thigh. We're going to walk the blocks back so it's more alongside our hips. The left arm's going to rise and we're going to sway or curve to the right. Inhale, realign the vertebrae, drop your left arm in front of you, and then you're going to take it across your chest and you're going to turn your upper body to face that hand. Exhale, release the hand. I would suggest maybe even using the blocks here beside the front foot to pick up the back knee, to step all the way up, and then to lower it back into your forward fold. Nodding or shaking your head. Longer, sweeter out breath. Now pressurize the feet. Inhale, draw it up. Upward worship. Again, gathering blessings. Considering your blessings, counting them, naming them one by one. And then exhale, pour down over your lower body. Now we're going to do that same sequential order so that we can target that second side. Notice already how your body's adapting and accepting this pose. Think about spilling out anything you've been holding on to from your past. Things that we pack on our back and we think, oh, we'll deal with that later. We never do. All right, on your next inhale, let's step the right foot back. Lunge the front knee, settle down to the back knee with the toes curled under. We're going to start off here. Dropping through the pelvic floor. And then, of course, you can choose to have hands on blocks or the ground. And you can also choose to stay here right as you are. Maybe this is like the perfect place for you to be today. Otherwise, ground your right hand, stack the left hand to your left thigh, and twist in that direction. If you want to take it into the third potential phase, pick up your back foot, see if your left hand can find it. And be and breathe here. Exhale, unwind from that twist. If your hands are on blocks, you want them back on the mat. Curl the back toes under. You're going to pick up the back knee. You're going to step it into your plank position. From your plank position, shift forward, lower down to your chaturanga, all the way down to the floor. Separate your feet, soften through your glutes. Slide your hands out and prop up into your seal. Of course, the modification, lowering the arms. Exhale, roll it down, feet close together, hands slide back. Inhale, table. Exhale, downward facing dog. My toes are popping a lot today. Breathe into your kidneys. Inhale, taking the right foot forward. That's not right. Step back. Sorry. Stepping the left foot forward. Dropping the back knee, keeping the back toes curled. Finding your blocks. Walking it in. Ha. Now we're on the right side. Right arm lifts, and then we curve over to the left. So I'm not one of these teachers that thinks all of these videos have to be perfection. As you can tell from the lighting and the environment, and I'm never really doing a whole lot of editing because I believe in being real. I see videos that are so perfectly arranged, so perfectly lit, so perfectly said, and it's just not reality. Inhale, bring it up to the top. Bring the arm down, take it across your chest, and then turn to look off in the same direction the hand is facing. Exhale, unwind from the twist, bring the hand down. I would suggest using the blocks. That's a lot. Pick up the back knee, springboard that back foot forward, and then close back down into dangling pose. Shedding our stress and recognizing how we are blessed. Inhale, root down to rise. Exhale, coming right again. Wisdom and power returning to the people. Jupiter expanding and exposing any lies and deceit. Expanding spirituality expanding and emphasizing creativity. The ending of an old cycle and the beginning of a new cycle. Inhale, this time step back plank. Exhale, shift forward, lower down to the floor. Separate the feet, slide the hands out, seal. We are holding these yin poses, but maybe not as long as some other poses at other points in other weeks. And I'm doing that because when we work the front of the quads, it tends to be a more sensitive area. Same thing with these more dramatic back bends. So roll down to the chest, feet in, hands in, pop up on your in-breath table. Move into downward facing dog on the out breath. Now, if you have a blanket there, you may want to scoot it off to the side. We're going to bring the right shin up behind the hands for swan. And then we're going to roll it down to take rest and to just be. Think of stretching out this area surrounding the right hip. So if it feels cold or dense, tight, excuse me, or stuck, think about it being like caramel or taffy, anytime you have a caramel or taffy, it can be cold and dense and hard to separate. But then when it gets warm, when you start to pull it apart or chew it up, it gets juicier, it gets more pliable. So on your inhale, slowly start to come up. Twist to your left. Now you can be here just in the twist because you can feel how it's getting into that stomach meridian in the front of that back thigh. You're in it, you're getting it. If you want to receive a little bit more, pick up your back foot. This time, you're going to take your hand to hold the big toe side. And you can even draw it in closer if that's available. Mermaid. So think about when we are overly stressed or over worried, it can create ulcers in the stomach. So it makes sense that in Chinese medicine, they would put this with the stomach. Let your mindfulness and attention to the breath help to reduce your stress. Just like these specific poses for this specific channel. And sometimes we need to be aware that we just need rest for stress. All right, let's release the back foot. Rotate back around, plant the palms. We're going to go into down dog as the transitionary pose. We'll take it to the other side. Go your left shin, come behind your hands. Lengthen your right leg back. And then we're going to take swan, the sleeping variation, where we crawl the arms forward, we bow down. Feel free to use props. Notice whether or not you're storing any stress in this front hip, this left side. Again, maybe thinking of it being like caramel or taffy. Softer as it stretches out. Juicing up the hip with synovial fluid so it's not as stiff. Inhale, slowly start to lift. You have the option to twist. Now, if you stayed here, you're still getting it. If you want to twist, add in the twist. And if you want to pick up the back foot, hold the big toe side, draw it in. You might even be able to bring it into the crook of the arm. Sometimes you can balance lifting the left hand. I just don't feel like it today. It dawned on me today how some of these yin poses are named after animals that love to be in water. Seal, swan, tadpole, frog, mermaid, the mythical mermaid. That's the one we're in now. All right, we're gonna let our fin go. We're gonna lean onto the left hip and we're gonna swing that right foot around. Now, your feet are gonna be together, but not closely knit to the body. Let them glide forward so that your legs are creating the shape of like a traditional kite. diamond shaped. And then we're going to move down into our butterfly pose. So you're just gently lowering. Let the head drop. This is a good pose to try to breathe back into the kidneys as well. So often we focus on whether or not there's movement in the abdomen. Breathe into the base of your back ribs, down into your low back. Inhale, slowly unfurl the back and come up. We'll bring the hands to the back of the knees to lift them up. Let your left leg slide out. Let your right foot glide in. Hug that knee. Swirl the right hand behind your back and twist. Keeping the left heel pushing out and the thigh dropping down. Eyes can be open or closed. I hear a lot of people say they have a hard time doing yoga at home because they get so distracted. So maybe the perfect time for you to close your eyes so you're not seeing around you what needs to be done. This is your time, your sacred time to let go of the stress and to remember you are blessed. Exhale, unwind. Slide your right leg out. Bend your left knee. Inhale, lift through the crown. Exhale, twist off to your left. And then putting the action into your right leg, even though you're turning away from it. Turning your attention to the breath so that you stay in a mindful place in your mind. You're feeding and fueling your body. Staying connected to your spirit. And then applying. And if you want to set up for our final resting pose, we used a wall today. You're welcome to do legs up the wall. You're welcome to do the traditional corpse pose. I'm bringing a bolster in to go under the knees. Feel free to cover with a blanket. Oh, excuse me, or use it like a pillow or a prop for the head. Once you get settled for Shavasana, even if you're going through a tough time, think about all the ways you are blessed. To be alive, to be here, to be practicing, to be breathing. Consider what you're grateful for. The fact that you are safe, your needs have been met and are being met. And this is another opportunity for you to remember and to count your blessings one by one. Or you can just minimize all thought processes and just bear witness to the breath. So that you're quieting the mind, reducing your stress. If you need a longer Shavasana, press pause. Stay as long as you need to. Otherwise, inhale, stretch the arms overhead, and exhale, hug your knees in. Be here a moment in Anahatasana. We did a lot of back bends today. We did several twists today. And just let your back reset. Rolling away to one side. Building your way up to take a seat. Sitting with the spine lengthening. Hopefully feeling like you've expanded and opened your heart. Hopefully feeling you've expanded and created more spaciousness in the mind. And drawing your hands together to prayer. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May we all walk away from this practice being free and at peace by anything out of our control, by anything imposed upon us by another, or any internal stressors of our own. May we be blessed, and may we be a blessing to others. Namaste.